Well, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's a beautiful Sunday, and I feel very good inside and out compared to how I was on Friday, as you saw. But everything is good now. The situation that I was talking about is all sorted out. So, you know, I am just very compassionate towards animals, especially dogs. Um, Man, I don't know what it is. Maybe I was a dog in my past life, but anytime it's all about dogs, I'm there, man. And hopefully, when I get my house soon, I will get another dog, another golden retriever, so Yash can have a brother. But, you know, feel good. It's a good weather. And today, as you know, we're going to talk about eighth lord in the third house. And what happens when the planet that controls your eighth house is sitting in the third house. And obviously, we do not know where your eighth lord is placed in your birth chart and where your other lord through houses are placed. For that, check out the links here and check out my full astrological report, including my books, Astrology, Conjunction, Aspects at the Speed of Light, and especially my option 6, where all the new people can get to find out exactly what their planetary placements are. So, what is eighth house? Eighth house represents death and rebirth, sudden events, sudden ups and downs, because death is a sudden event. So, sudden things from the eighth house. Eighth house is a house of secrecy. It's a house of occult, because occultry and mysticism happens beneath the earth, in the darkness, in secrecy. Eighth house is a house of your sexual activities. You know what you do. The partner itself, the act of sex is the seventh house, but the activity of the seventh house is the eighth house. And as you know, eighth house represents your in-laws, your joint assets with your spouse. But if you just want to sum it up in one thing, it's really the secretive side of life, things that are just beneath the ground. So all the minerals that are underneath the ground, like petroleum, gems, coal, coal, and oil, and any kind of thing that you find underneath the ground. The root of things are the eighth house. And what is the third house? Third house represents your daily communication. It represents your daily activities, like movement. Like in the morning, I will go with Yash and get a coffee. That's my daily movement, which is third house. Third house represents siblings. It's a house of information, gathering data. It's a house of your hobbies, your skills, your artistic talents, cinema, acting. All of these things are the third house, including your willpower, like your strength. Okay. So what happens is that when eighth lord goes into the third house, shows that you love to be an investigative journalist. You like to investigate things and you want to write about them, or you want to inform people about them, because third house is a house of writing and information, like journalism. So you like to gather information that are secret and expose it in a news media form. You also like to expose and tell other people's secrets to your siblings and neighbors. Like, you're this kind of person, depending upon certain planets, where you will take this person's information and tell that to that neighbor information into that. And you just love to talk about the secrets with your neighbors and your siblings. Now, let's say if you are dealing with your sexual activities in your life, any problem in sexual activities, or you're enjoying sexual activities, that too you will expose to your siblings and friends and whatnot. That's kind of creepy to tell your siblings, but your neighbors and your friends is something you like to expose your sexual life to. Perhaps and perhaps you want to even investigate like things related to sexology, people's baggages. Pretty much people's psychological baggage is the eighth house. And so shows that somebody who might be a psychologist or somebody who might be a psychiatrist and writes book on the subject. Like, you love doing research on these subjects, and perhaps you're getting your PhD in these kind of a matter. Or you just love to write and talk about death. What is death? Why does death happen? What's after death? What's the process of death? All of these things. So even if you're a writer, your writing will always involve things related to sex and things related to death, things related to occult. You will write about occult. Okay. Now, depending upon what planet is controlling your third house, controlling your eighth house, and sits in the third house, that will kind of differentiate what exactly you're going to investigate, what exactly you're going to communicate about. So let's talk about that. So let's say if Sun controls your 8th house and Sun goes into the 3rd house, and what this shows is that your ability to communicate in everyday communication will not only develop your ego, but your ego will be developed by communication of creativity, by communication of spiritual secrets, perhaps discussing with your neighbors and your siblings about, what is Vedas, what is, death, what is, spirituality, the occult, and it'll become this very imaginative, creative way for you to not only explore your intellect, which is the 3rd house, but also your ability to create your personality, and you mold your ego into something where you are kind of known as a person who is quite creative and imaginative when it comes to, things that are very dark and beneath the surface that nobody wants to talk about. Let's say if Moon controls your 8th house and Moon goes into the 3rd house, shows that somebody who's going to be communicating and being emotionally very attached to scientific thinking. Very scientific mind, very scientific thinking. They like to explore the deepest, darkest side of life, and including death kind of becomes this emotional attachment for them. They want to scientifically explore what is death, what is this, and they kind of want to write about that, communicate about that. Their everyday communication regarding death and rebirth occurs between them and their mother. Okay, and shows that the emotional attachment to siblings may not be there, but the communication regarding any kind of social welfare type thinking will be present among their siblings. There may not be good camaraderie between the siblings, but they all have this scientific ability to really help the community and really help people out there. And this also shows that your mind kind of goes through sudden ups and downs. This is why probably you're attracted to psychology and chemistry and psychiatry of the brain, because you yourself went through such turmoil in your emotions growing up that you're like, man, I got to explore deeper into this issue. Why did I feel this way? Perhaps I need to go and research on like 1,000 other people. So you see how the scientific mind develops into a psychologist or psychiatrist. Let's say if Mercury controls your 8th house and Mercury goes into the 3rd house, shows one would like to be an investigative journalist. One likes to expose secrets to the media world about what's happening with the government, what's happening with the financial system of the government, what's happening even in the realm of the occult or secrecy. Here, the communication becomes a very prominent part of you, and shows that your hobby and skills are all about writing, or perhaps writing blogs about, things related to occult, writing blogs about, exposing secret of the government, like, Alex Jones or David Icke, all these guys, who do these things on a day-to-day basis, shows that you may become a professional journalist regarding these matters. Let's say if Venus controls your 8th house, Venus goes into the 3rd house, shows that somebody may experience, first of all, sudden ups and downs in their relationship. And once they have experienced these kind of a thing, eventually they would love to communicate about the heartaches of relationships. They would like to explore the deepest side of sexual activities, deepest side of a relationship. They want to know what makes somebody fall in love with another person. Is it sex? Is it the emotional side? Is it the looks? So these people are very much wanting to communicate artistically regarding these kind of matters. So if you go into acting, you like to pick roles where the person gets their heart broken, becomes crazy, and you want to explore that side of the character. Like what makes somebody go nuts regarding sexual relationships, or relationships that are very much turbulent, and shows that your siblings and you were quite creative. You guys were quite creatively inclined towards exploring the darkest and the deepest side of life. Perhaps you went into music that was like about the darker side of life, like grunge music, punk rock. You just wanted to tell people through your creativity. You made paintings about death. You made paintings about sexual activities. Let's say if Mars controls your 8th house, Mars goes into the 3rd house. Well, what is Mars? Mars is your willpower, your strength, your energy. It's your fighting ability. Mars represents sharp objects. Mars represents weaponry. Mars represents being a detective. So obviously shows that you may actually like to inform people about investigative journalism at the same, just like Mercury. At the same time, your everyday communication is about the investigating things, kind of like a detective, somebody who might be in undercover cop, somebody who might want to explore the underworld of the criminal how do I say it? The underworld crime, and wanting to write about it, wanting to communicate about it. Like if you were to become a writer, you will write about crime, murder, things related to blood. These are the people who can become surgeons because of the fact 3rd house represents shoulders and hands. Mars is a planet that represents sharp objects, and Mars either can be a doctor or a killer. So it shows that you may use your weaponry to either use your hands to become a surgeon and save someone's life, or you may go into killing somebody. But here what Mars shows is that you have the most hidden ultimate strength within you, like underneath yourself. Like you may not look as powerful, as strong, but you have complete sheer willpower whenever you are communicating about things. Whenever you're trying to investigate something, you might be like 4'11", 110 pounds, but you'll be able to go into the lion's den and investigate what is happening. So a lot of hidden strength regarding a person's person's ability to go out and face fears, face challenges. Like sports athlete can be seen from this. They're able to take their hidden talent and expose it through physical activity, because 3rd house is activity too. Just like 6th house is competition, 3rd house is also the ability to fight and compete out there. 5th house is obviously sports, and so it can represent your hidden talent of physical strength and physical fighting, and even wrestling, and any kind of a physical activity might be your hidden talent. Now let's say if Jupiter controls your 8th house, Jupiter goes into the 3rd house. What this shows is that you love to inform people about the secrecy of religion and spirituality. You want to be out there spreading the words to your neighbors, to your siblings, and your everyday communication will be about, hey, look what I found regarding religion and spirituality. Like you would want to become this pretty much this journalist of religion and spirituality. You want to become a writer of religion and spirituality. Your siblings will become like your gurus. Their siblings will be like your teachers who will teach you about the secrecy that are hidden from the eyes of the world. Whether it's alien UFO, whether it's ghost, whether it's astrology, numerology, whatever it is. Your sibling will try to give you the right guidance towards exploring the deepest side of life. And your intelligence, your divine intelligence, will enhance itself the more you try to talk to people about spirituality and religion. The more you try to investigate things related to biology and science, you will explore. And this is the kind of thing, like the more you talk to people, the more your intelligence will grow with Jupiter. Let's say if Saturn controls your 8th house, goes into the 3rd house, shows that somebody loves to write and investigate and talk about death. Because Saturn represents death, 8th house is death, and Saturn is a significator of death. And Saturn is 8th from the 8th house. So it shows that somebody just always is thinking about death. What is death? How to explore death? What is this reincarnation things? And Saturn is a slow-moving planet. So anytime these guys communicate and write, they can write like 400-page novels. They can write 200-page books. They can make like 2-hour-long videos or 100-page vlogs, because they're slowly write, and their writing is each project of communication is of a long duration. And obviously because Saturn is 8th from the 8th, Saturn here becomes very good. Saturn here kind of grows with positive with time and shows that you have a lot of hidden talent where you're able to make dirt into gold. You have that talent. With Saturn in the third house, especially shows somebody who will have the ability to make dirt into gold, and you will make your business things related to secrecy, communication of secrecy, business of hidden secrets. Because anytime Saturn's in the third house, Saturn will always say that you better do your own business. If you work under someone else, you're not going to be happy, and I won't let you stay happy. You have to do your own business. So that's one thing with Saturn in the third house. Okay. So guys, this is my analysis of 8th Lord in the third house. If you're new to my channel, subscribe below. And again, if you want to know where your 8th Lord is placed and where your other Lord through houses are, for that, check out the links here. And check out all my books on astrology, including my full astrological report. Otherwise, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.